Dustin Tibbetts with Passport to Wall Street, and today we're going to do an overview of Boeing, the airline company or the airline manufacturer. So if you're not familiar with Boeing, they make airplanes, they make parts for airplanes, they service those parts and airplanes, and then they also do a little bit of financing and some, which is not a lot of their business, but they also do spacecraft, satellites, they do warplanes and things like that. And you've probably seen them in the news a lot lately because they keep getting orders for more and more airplanes. Well, the reason for that is the airline passenger business is absolutely exploding. In fact, Boeing themselves over the next 20 years says that the airline industry will need 42,000 plus new planes. Well, they've been getting a lot of orders from names like Ryanair, Federal Express, of course, UPS and the likes. And so what's happening is Boeing has outperformed the overall market. So we thought we'd take a look and see how Boeing is doing and see if that's something maybe you're interested in investing for the long term. Let's go over to the charts real quick. We'll take a look at a comparison chart of Boeing versus the S&P 500 for this year. So as of January 1st till October right now, Boeing is higher by about 25%. You can see that that drastically beats the market, which has gained only about 8%. Now, the performance of Boeing overall is highly predicated on the concept that they are going to continue to be able to deliver these airplanes. So they have had some issues in the past and currently have some issues, but they're working on it. Before we talk about that, let's take a look at the overall candlestick charts for those of you that are technical traders. And I'm going to go out to a weekly time period here and just kind of show you where we're at the absolute highs here. So let me bring that into the picture a little bit better. You can see Boeing is basing near the highs. So if you're a technical trader, you love that. This is a weekly chart, by the way. The stock has basically been channeling sideways up at highs, waiting for some good news and some things to further propel it to highs. Now, a couple things you should know. Boeing currently makes up about 10% of the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So the better Boeing does, the better that index pulls along with it. You may have noticed that the Dow has also started to rally off of the lows, finally coming back and competing with the rest of the major indices and making new all-time highs, which it took a long time to do. Now, as far as Boeing is concerned, they do have some issues now. They have production issues, but they have tried desperately to get retired workers to come back and help propel their production. They're years behind on some of their Dreamliner projects like the 737 and I believe the 787 as well. So Boeing in general, we know there's a lot of problems going on there, but they've got orders coming in left and right. So much so that over the last 4 quarters, they've beat earnings estimates by 26%, which is incredible. It totally rivals everybody in the industry. Now, although there's a lot of good news going on with Boeing, you should know that there are Canadian, Russian, and Chinese companies that also realize that airlines are looking for these single-aisle passenger jets. You know, the jets where there's 3 seats on one side, 3 on the other, and you go down one aisle to get in there, versus like the bigger ones that have 2 aisles that go down the airplane with the seats in the middle. So you got Canada, Russia, and China all have companies that say within the next couple years they'll be able to produce and deliver, more importantly, their single aisle jet comparison, really in comparison to the 737. So while things look good for Boeing right now, there's a bit of a headwind coming up around the world. Competition is key there. However, in the meantime, Boeing continues to just kill it as far as sales, revenues, and earnings, as well as deliveries. They're doing better. The negative side of that is that 747, you know, the 747 with the hump on the plane, they're really reducing production on that one. They may even have to discontinue it. They were at a production delivery time of 1 plane a month. They've since backed that down to 1 plane every 2 months, and they may actually end up getting rid of it. So from a fundamental perspective, Boeing looks pretty strong. There's a lot of good things going for it. And from a technical perspective, if you like looking at the charts, you've got Boeing just basing out right at those highs, looking for a reason to break out. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope that makes you a profit and you've got a better insight into Boeing, and we'll talk